On the diversity topic, how easy or hard was for you and the company to raise capital? Because you're aware of that there is the paler the skin, the easier you raise capital.
That's an interesting question, because I think back in 2018, like, people were being called out for not having enough locals or Africans in the founding team. But right now the narrative is all about female entrepreneurs.
Hi, welcome to 9 to 5 with Wangari. Today we have a founder of one of the best startups in Kenya. I'll just switch over, give a quick intro, tell us about your company, and we'll go from there.
Great, thank you for having me. I am Sonia Kabra, co-founder of BuuPass. And at BuuPass, we are building the digital infrastructure for long-distance transport in Africa. We started BuuPass as student entrepreneurs. I met my co-founder, who's from Kenya, when we were schooling in the States. And we thought that transportation was so hectic and so chaotic, and we were both frustrated users of public transport from our respective countries. I'm from India. So we decided to solve transportation. So that was like the big problem we wanted to solve. And we ended up getting funding in the US, which made us to move here in Kenya, and we started BuuPass, which became operational in 2017.
2017. Yeah. Cool. Chris, do you want to go first with us?
Yeah, why Kenya?
Why Kenya? Great question. So I think I was always fascinated by Kenya, like even before I moved here due to the mobile money infrastructure. Kenya, as everybody knows, is way ahead in terms of mobile money. And then we saw that the problem was pretty big here that needed to be solved. Plus my co-founders from here. Going to Asia was another option, but that market was already saturated with solutions, and you needed like deeper pockets to penetrate that market. So we decided that Kenya would be a good place to start. So that's how we moved. Yeah.
All right. So the very first, I think I interacted with BuuPass 2017. I think so. What was the first build out that you did for BuuPass?
Yeah. So we had a lot of pivots. The solution, Magic Bus. We are the first company in Africa that aims to improve predictability in the bus system using offline technology. Our holistic approach increases certainty for both commuters and buses using something that they already have, a basic phone. We have still been in the transportation industry. So we first started with the Matatu industry, which is the town service or intracity. Yeah. I actually lived in Rongai for 3 months because we were doing, because there's quite a lot of universities there. A multimedia university, Catholic university. So we were doing transportation for students there with the SACCOs. And we built like a solution where the students could book their favorite Matatu, because everybody has their favorite Matatu, and then they would just show up and the Matatu would know the demand along the route. The pilot went well, and that's how we were able to score funding in the US because of our proof of concept. But then when we came back, we realized that the stakeholder map for the Matatu market is very wide. And it's difficult to get into, like even Google with Beba Pay, and I think there was another project by Safaricom, but they were not able to crack the Matatu market. Even now, I think it's completely manual. So we decided to stay in transport, but pivot to long distance transportation, which was still structured, but again fragmented, chaotic and privatized. And then we saw a clear pathway to revenue and growth. So that led us to build our first product, which was a USSD code. We partnered with Easy Coach, one of the biggest bus companies in Kenya, to provide them with a USSD code, and that picked up pretty well. Then we built out our website and app. So we were mostly a B2C product. And then we reached a level of saturation. We got like some of the bigger bus operators, even with a proof of concept with buses. We were able to partner with Safaricom to provide booking for Kenya Railways. So we are the ones providing the SGR, booking USSD and website. And but then just staying in the B2C space kind of stagnated us. We realized that the bigger problem is with the bus operators. They still use pen and paper. They don't know how much revenue they are making. Yeah. So we ended up building out like a SaaS and a point of sale solution that bus operators use at all of their stations. And then we connect them to end users to book their tickets.
Awesome. I'm curious to know if you could talk about the challenges you faced in the Matatu industry, because I think that's an industry many people or many startups are trying to disrupt and get into. Just like maybe just a few challenges.
Yeah, I think the bigger challenge is that it's very fragmented. It's not like, I think if you look at the best public transport case studies from all over the world, it's usually centralized and government owned, and it's very different here in Kenya. And I think that's where the problem starts coming in, because even the conductor and driver, when we were doing our research, they need to every Matatu needs to be profit making. So you need to pay like a target to the owner, and the rest then becomes what you take home. So that leads them to, overspeeding, not wanting something that gives transparency. Yeah, because then the Matatu owner might want a higher target, for example. So those were some of the challenges. So I think each stakeholder has a different goal in that industry, and sometimes they oppose each other, and that creates a lot of friction.
All right, got you. Yeah. Curious to talk through your journey of building the team from, like you say, you and your founder. How many engineers did you start? I love that you started with USSD, very low tech, and built up through there. So yeah, just curious to talk through that journey.
Yeah, interestingly, both my co-founder and I are not like developers or coders. We were able to build our first, MVP somehow with some help, and we took like few classes in Python, but that was it. But then when we reached scale, we needed an actual developer to join us. So when we started, we had like one consultant who used to help us. We then piloted the USSD, Nairobi, Kisumu.
Cool.
My co-founder comes from Kisumu, so that really helped as well. We saw that the USSD was taking up pretty well, but then especially like on Facebook, we got a lot of requests that, why don't you have a website? So we then started building out a website and an app. So that's how our tech developed. And in terms of the team, we first wanted to reach product market fit. So definitely the tech team is the one that slowly started building up. And right now we have a team of almost 10 developers. Then we just hired our CTO, who used to work at Microsoft. And we have team of technical implementation as well. So that's an important team for us, because customer success is very important for us. So we have to go all over Kenya. We are also in Uganda, so even there as well to do the implementation. We have sales, finance, basically whatever departments you have in a business. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Yes. So apart from Kenya, say you're in Uganda, which other country?
So Kenya and Uganda are our major focus for now, but we are exploring other markets in East Africa as well.
All right. Yeah. How do you decide which markets to go into, and how do you set up your growth strategy?
Yeah. So I think in our industry, there's a lot of inter-country transport that happens too. Yeah. And Nairobi to Kampala or Kisumu to Kampala were one of the most popular routes. So that I think Uganda became like the next place to go. Even our data said that. So how we want to expand is first, I think become market leaders in certain blocks, like the East African bloc, and then maybe move to West Africa or Southern Africa. So that's how we decide on our market expansion strategy. Some of the other things we look for in a market is how fragmented is it? Is the market, are there only like top 3 bus operators in that country, or is it very fragmented? Because the more fragmented it is, the more value we can bring to the end user, as well as we can show all of that inventory on one platform. And then things like, mobile money, if it exists or not, and how much is the usage, internet penetration, all of that goes into us deciding as well.
All right. So do you think you've saturated the Kenyan market?
No, not at all. It's a huge market.
Why grow if you've not captured the Kenyan market?
Yeah, so I think Uganda seemed like another market to get into because we already were serving customers one way.
Okay.
So the next step was to bring them back. Then once we had some good case studies there were some bus clients who were reaching out to us. So
interesting. Yeah.
So we then decided that Uganda would be another great one to start with. But yes, Kenya is, even this year's strategy is to increase our market share in Kenya. So there was a study done by Safaricom back in 2019 which stated that 300,000 people book long distance bus tickets every day in Kenya.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think we are right now around like 8 to 10% market share, so not that big. So the whole other market is mostly manual, so there's a huge market to capture just in Kenya.
Interesting. Who are your competitors?
The biggest one is status quo, like people using notebooks and pen and paper, so that would be one. And other competitors include probably software development companies who have provided bespoke solutions to certain bus operators.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have two products. There's a B2B product, which the buses are using. Then you have the B2C product, which consumers are using to book a ticket. Which amongst them is big in revenue?
Feel like I'm talking to an investor. Just went through fundraising and...
No, just because... most companies usually have a B2B, B2C component. Some of them keep the B2C for purposes of the brand growing, so on and so forth, and the B2C tend not to be profitable.
Yeah. I think for us, so the B2B is more of building the supply, and then B2C is the demand. I think I would look at it like that, because we get the inventory from the bus operator, then we sell it to the end user.
And these two systems are interconnected.
So one needs to, the inventory needs to be digitized for the end user to book it. Which one is bigger? We make higher commissions on providing additional sales to the bus operators. So definitely B2C brings us more revenue, but then it can only be successful if you have more inventory.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I saw you raised some money, a lot of money.
How much?
$1.3 million.
That's okay. As in, if the other companies are raising 20 to 50 million, when you say a lot,
no, it's for a company with 20 employees.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
$1 million is quite a lot of money. So, if it's okay, can you just tell us what's reason for raising the funds and what would you like to use it on? Yeah,
so interesting thing was we were actually supposed to raise in 2020. 2019 was a great year for us. We were growing month on month. We were making revenue. But then COVID hit 2020. So operations went zero.
Oh no.
And we ended up building out a parcel product with the bus operators as well. So that picked up too. And that's what actually led us to become profitable as well, because we were keenly looking at our operations and seeing how we can be cash efficient. So
did you say a parcel product?
Yeah, a parcel product. So
kind of like what Sandy used to do.
Actually, but it's more. It's like, if you're sending a letter from here to Mombasa, you would most likely end up using a shuttle or a bus operator. But there's no way for you to know if it has reached or not. Even on their side, they do it manually. So we were digitizing that as well, and that picked up pretty well during COVID. Cool. And all of that, led us to reach break even in 2021.
Oh wow! Congratulations!
And thank you.
So you're now cash flow positive.
We are cash flow positive. Yes.
So remember when you talked about we want to know how many startups are profitable.
At least now we know one.
But then that has a caveat though. So we reached break even. We were growing, but now we needed fuel for more growth. So that's why we raised. So that was basically the simple answer. We wanted fuel for growth because we felt like we had a good product in the market which can grow much faster with funding.
More funded,
But now that we have funding, we need to go back to burning cash. So now
what do you do?
now we are going back to having a burn, which is important because we know that this burn is going to lead to more growth and eventually next break even. Okay, the burn is mostly for growth initiatives.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what we are focusing on.
So growth is introducing additional products or going to newer markets?
So first of all is capturing market share.
Okay.
So more marketing, more awareness, more partnerships. So for example, we are already on the M-Pesa app.
Yep.
We provide bus, train and flight bookings on the
Okay.
M-Pesa app. We are integrating with other banks as well, so increasing our distribution channels.
Okay.
Then we, before it was just my co-founder mostly and sometimes me who would go to bus operators and sign deals.
Oh, okay.
But now we have a whole sales
Sales
team
team.
in Kenya and Uganda, so we are focusing on that as well.
Okay.
So those, I think, sales, growth and marketing. And then definitely innovating on the product too, because our product collects so much data. So there's so much more we can do, both in terms of, almost like providing analytics to the bus operator to tell them this is the next route you should open up, or this is the route where you need to increase or decrease the price. Those kind of things we are also features we are adding to our product as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'd like to understand your hiring process. We've just talked about startup life
Startups,
and how
yeah.
startup lives
Difficult.
are very
Sometimes. Most of the time.
It is. Yeah.
So that's a good question. What does your
how do you
hiring?
hire? How do you hire?
How do we hire? So, I mean, we look for, we put out a job post. Posting it on iHub job board has been very successful for us for some reason.
Okay.
And also look into our networks now that we have all these investors on board. Even they have referrals for talent and things like that. Like one of our investors, Founders Factory, helped us hire the CTO. And then we have, if it's a technical role, there's like a test. Then we do interviews. And then we decide. I think what we look for is definitely like skill set match, but also culture fit as well.
Okay.
And for us, we have a team where we don't like micromanagement as a company.
That's good.
So we need people who take
Responsibility.
and ownership and can actually believe in the vision of the company and also fit in with the with the culture.
You don't test them for their stress levels. How much? So what we talked about was how sometimes in startups you can find yourself working for 20 hours a day. First of all, does that happen at BuuPass? And if it does, do people actually buy into like we need to push ourselves?
Only when things are going wrong. I think like there's like a downtime and then
ebbs and flows. So
there's that and sometimes like last year there was a downtime with a bus operator and he was really angry because he was like so dependent on our product, which is a good thing because but then I had to get all my team together and we're like, we need to do this, and we stayed up the whole night. So there are times where we need to do that, but usually we promote having some sort of a balance. Because we are here for the long game. Like we have a story of slow growth, I would say. We are kind of old as a startup. So that's what we like to promote too. And that's why I guess most people stay with us for long. Like we have employees who have stayed with us for 4 years.
Oh wow, for a startup that's really good. Yeah. And you're profitable as well. That's like those two. That's amazing. Have you kept that culture? Like what are your tricks to keeping, like, it sounds like a really good culture, which I think it's a challenge. You need to be very intentional. Yeah,
I think we also include our team in the hiring process because we have a unique culture. Sometimes it's hard to explain, but also because we work with bus operators, it's a very rough market. So we need, especially with like customer facing roles, we need people who would be okay with going to CBD, to River Road, Accra Road, and getting, honestly, like just asking, just being like very honest about this is what you might have to do sometimes helps us weed out the people who might not be the right fit for the role. And also including the team in the hiring process also helps us. So even if it's a tech role, sometimes we get like somebody from operations or sales to sit in just to tell us like, what do you think the vibes match? Do they match the BuuPass vibes? So that helps too.
Is diversity a big thing for you? Because I mean, I've heard sometimes that's one of the things that investors and VCs look at, like at the top. Is that a myth? Is that I mean, you're also from a minority as well,
I guess, but I don't know. Like, how would you define? I mean, diversity in the US is very easy to define, but I feel like in a place like Kenya, how would you define diversity? I think one of the things we are focusing on is having more women on board, definitely. And we have done that. Like last year, we only had, I think, 8% women, and now it has increased to 20%. So that's something intentional we are doing as well, and just to create a culture that is attracting more talent, female talent as well. But at the same time, we in the end we look at like, will this person help us get from wherever we want to the next level, and do they fit in with the culture? Is this somebody who can stay with the company for a long time? Awesome. But diversity, I don't know, like how would you define diversity?
I mean, this is something we often
like, is it
argue about. I think as guys, when I think diversity, I'm thinking diversity in skill sets and experience. Like that is what I think. But I think sometimes people look at that like optically,
very shallow.
Exactly.
Just say skin color.
Exactly. I need female African, and that's very unfortunate. So when I think diversity, that's what I'm thinking about.
I think the founding team helps with that, because like my co-founder is Kenyan. Exactly. And then eventually I think we've ended up attracting people from various different backgrounds as well. So we have built that culture, and then having Ugandan team members now is adding to the diversity too, I guess.
On the diversity topic, how easy or hard was for you and the company to raise capital, because you're aware of that there is the paler the skin, the easier you raise capital.
That's an interesting question, because I think back in 2018, like people were being called out for not having enough locals or Africans in the founding team. But right now the narrative is all about female entrepreneurs. So it's changing. But at the same time, I feel like your identities has different layers to it.
Exactly.
And raising last year was just hard as a startup. So I don't know like whether it was because we did not have a white guy on our team like from the US or something else. But what we did was we just used our networks, whatever, and then for example, we have investors from India as well who came in as too. So probably using our networks helped us in a positive way.
So are there a couple of pitches that were rejected?
Oh yes. I mean, like, there was so much rejection that happened last year. We must have sent out almost like 500 to 600 emails. Whoa. Most of them are like ghosted. Then like we go to the last stage of due diligence with some of the investors, then the deal doesn't work out because, it's also not about just getting the money, but at a good price as well. Because you also do not want to be in a weak position as a startup too. So that's a huge part of fundraising. I think especially last year with how the market was, it was pretty rough.
How do you deal with rejection?
I think you just move on. You just move on, and you just learn. I mean, we kept like a list of why did you? We asked them like, what else can we do better, and that helped us to improve our pitch the next time too.
What were the main reasons, if you don't mind sharing, why?
I mean, I think there was also one of the interesting things we saw. Investors from the West did not find the bus market very interesting. They were like, how big can it become? Is it $1 trillion?
It's not fintech.
Yeah, it's not fintech. And that's why I was like, which countries do have a similar success story? And that's what led me to like go to Indian investor. There's a company called Red Bus who got acquired for $200 million back in 2015. So back then it was like one of the biggest wins in the Indian startup ecosystem. So that's why we then reached out to investors who either have invested in similar companies or have seen success stories in such a market. So that was one. Number two was they need to see more traction.
Okay.
So I think this is not like a completely hard no, but maybe somebody who can come in the next round as well. And then I think those two were the biggest reasons, to be honest.
Those two were the biggest reasons.
Do you have any local investors?
Oh yeah, we do have local investors too, including business like angels, as well as front-end VC. So we have NIBAN, Nairobi Business Angels Network, front-end VC, and a few other individual angels from Kenya as well. Yeah.
People usually thought Kenyans don't invest in startups.
There you go. Myth debunked. Yeah.
And I think one of the other things I want to mention, local investors have been very useful. I think it's not just about getting money, but what networks you can get from them too.
Yeah, your social capital.
Social capital is important. For example, one of our investors is connecting us to bus manufacturers who sell to bus operators. So we get into that whole network as well. So I think that was one of the biggest lessons I learned too, that you should not just take money, but also what other value do they bring in as an investor.
Wow, very good.
Great. So your team is heavily tech.
Yes, right now, but slowly the marketing and sales teams are growing too. Yeah.
So there's usually saying that if you're a tech company, 50% of your employees should be in the tech. Do you believe in that, or that the operational sales growth teams, marketing are more essential to the product vis-a-vis the engineering team?
Yeah, I think probably, especially if you're a tech company or you're building something that's like very feature heavy, I would say depending on which stage you're at, you need to focus on your tech team. And probably as a founder, build out your sales process first before you just hire a salesperson.
So you actually you built out the process
because we were in a unique market. It was not like typical, selling to a corporate or something. So also knowing, who to talk to, how does the pitch work, and having the founders on the ground do that helped us then coach the salespeople who would come in. But right now we're at the stage where we want to grow our marketing and sales. So I don't know. I think it depends on which stage you're at. Is it product market fit? Is it scale up phase? Based on that, your team composition changes.
Okay. So now that it sounds like you've gone through the product market fit, you're really focusing on the growth.
Yeah.
And
so you hit profitability last year.
2021. Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So what prevented you from raising capital prior?
Before reaching break-even or after?
Yeah, before reaching break-even, because there is a discussion we are having about either you grow slowly and understand your market, or just taking cash, put it in the business, and then boom, the business.
I think COVID was a huge factor for us. Yeah, so COVID completely affected the market. If you guys remember, you were not allowed to travel from one city to another. And that's our market.
That's your market. That's what you do.
So it was not a good time to raise for us. So we were like, let's wait it out. Let's see what else we can do, which led to the parcel product.
I mean, raising from the get-go, like from 2017.
Because we were winners of the HALT prize in 2017.
Oh, you still had cash to
we had cash then, and it was a grant which we were very thankful for. So instead of using that to raise the next round of funding, what we decided as founders is that let's reach some sort of market validation before we do that.
Very smart.
Yeah, so that's what we wanted to do. Also, I think we're kind of naive in the market. We started it right after college. So we were also aware about that. We need to learn first before you take somebody else's money too. So that's why we decided to take
Not many people know that as well, but I mean, I do think give yourself credit for.
It's not a scam.
Yeah, it is not a scam, exactly. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. If it's okay, if you it's possible to tell us numbers, like how much have you done in revenue, number of customers you've served, and all the numbers, whichever is, if it's okay.
Yeah. I think I can tell you how many tickets we've sold. So far, since inception, we have sold over 10 million tickets.
Whoa!
And we are processing, in terms of gross transaction value, like GMV, we are processing around $3 million per month. Yeah, and then we get different kinds of commission based on where the transaction is coming from. Yeah.
That is really good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have you just been focused on building versus telling your story?
Yes, I think that has been, and I think that is a weakness we have. And right now we are being intentional with our PR as well, sharing more case studies of client success. So most recently, my co-founder was on Citizen TV with the CEO of Easy Coach, and they were talking about how BuuPass has helped them digitize their operations. We're actually doing all of their parcels as well. So so I think we are taking that route now to share more stories, so that can help us with our sales. And I think PR definitely helps with fundraising too, but you need to ask yourself, what is the right time to do it? You know, have you reached that position to do that? Yeah.
Awesome.
So if you raised funding right now, when are you likely to hit profitability?
Again? I mean, I think probably in the next 12 months again, but then we might open up another round of funding based on how the market
Which round are you on currently?
So we call the last one our pre-seed or seed. It's not very, name doesn't really matter. So I think the next one would be the seed or pre-series A. We'll decide what to call it. We were supposed to raise a higher amount, but then we decided to lower it because of how the market conditions were. So we're also waiting for market to kind of get slightly better before we open up the next round too, as we reach our growth goals, because there are certain revenue metrics that we have promised to our investors too. So we are also pushing for that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. How much, should I call it pressure or difference does it make when now, how you used to operate before raising capital and how now you've raised capital? How does running the company, the structures, how has it changed?
Yeah. Actually, I was having a chat with my team about that yesterday. Because before this, it was we were kind of making our own, decisions.
Vibes, inshallah. I can imagine.
But now it's like, we need to hit like this week. Why didn't we reach our target? What can we do better? So there needs to be more systems and processes in place. So that's what we are setting up. And at the same time, while we are growing, we also don't want our culture to become
that's what I was going to ask.
So we are also looking at, getting advice on how we can still maintain our culture while becoming a hyper-growth company. Yeah.
Okay. Hitting profitability in 12 months, that's no
joke. That's, how are they responding to this change? Because I mean, right now, as you said, I can imagine it's a bit tougher. Is it?
Yeah. They love it. A lot of them have seen BuuPass like from the inception or very early stages.
Yeah. Like a little bit.
So they really like it. They like the growth as well. I think, and that's why each team keeps the other accountable. Like if the product is not doing well, the sales would like tell tech like, hey, I need to make this sale. You need to fix this or that. So we have seen that cross-departmental accountability happen too.
Yeah.
So I think they find it exciting as well. Yeah.
That's good.
So your team is going to double, triple, quadruple?
How many are you right now? Let's start there.
We are 28.
28, yeah.
We might add a few more roles. And then we already have a sales force, kind of 4 people now. So we're testing them out before we can add more people too. Because again, interestingly in sales, we had some churn. And this was because of the uniqueness of our markets, also identifying who would be the right person to join. Yeah.
And what about swags? You're going to have company swags.
Oh yeah, we have that.
Yeah.
We have
Sponsor our channel, that kind of stuff.
She tell me you're moving to a bigger office.
Yeah.
So, the former IHAB.
One of the wings,
Bishop Mago. Sometimes there's some criticism that when you get funding, you expand offices, you get nice couches, a coffee show, a coffee place, and all that, and the swag for that. Do you think that's right or wrong? Are you going to do it?
Slowly. So we are. I think definitely we would want an office that improves productivity.
Yes.
So what we have done right now is kind of bare bones, but we would need like the basic furniture, maybe some signage, but slowly we'll like add more stuff too. So we don't want to just, like spend quite a lot on like capex, which doesn't even add to our growth.
Yeah.
So I think, and the good thing is like my finance team is pretty strict about how we spend.
As they should be, yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that helps as well. But we want to have a cool office, but that's not a priority.
It's not a priority.
Yeah.
You see, this is why you need an Indian in your team.
As we always say Indians are the best business people. And I think we've also worked for Indian companies. You're like, yeah. You need to account for that mandazi as well. Which is like, I completely understand. Chris, it was a PC, but anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, having said that, I want to say like, you also have to take risks, but you know where to spend money to take risk is it like swag or is it some marketing campaign? So that's the decision you need to make, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. I'd love to talk about your marketing strategy because again, this is something Chris and I often like discuss. What is it? Is there an element of influencer marketing that you're thinking about?
Yeah. So I think during COVID, we had like no marketing department. Then we built one. We actually hired somebody from Swivel who used to be the growth marketing manager.
I love Swivel. Yeah.
They had a cool product, definitely. And we are working with them. So what we want to do is first create more trust and awareness about our business. Yes. And then also identified either like nano or micro influencers who have a loyal community who can help us, get out there too. I think going back to diversity, we just hired like a Gen Z intern, and that has helped so much because I think a lot of like I am a millennial and I don't even like have TikTok or something, and I don't know what impact it can create. But having that difference in thought helps you create your messaging for like one of the biggest demographics that
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since this is a product that is a mass product, so the B2C side for it, I feel like this is more of like the traditional marketing influencer, like the guy called Peter Marangi. And that type of ad is what gets you this. Influencers are great, and we had a very big debate about that. But if you look at people who go to TikTok, do they actually book buses? That's the question. I tend to feel like I'm biased against TikTok. I just feel like sometimes it's a waste of.
You're a millennial as well, as she just said.
Yeah, sometimes I just feel like
it's
if I was to make like who actually buys the ticket?
Yeah.
It's my father. It's you and I.
Working professionals.
Yeah. But there's also students, huge demographic too. Yeah. But their parents buy it, but they influence their parents.
Yes.
So
does this happen the other way around?
These days, you may don't know. You never know how it works these days.
That's why we don't work in marketing.
And also, I saw TikTok was like one of the most downloaded apps
in Kenya
this year.
Yeah.
So it's definitely growing.
For sure.
And we've even seen our bus operators on TikTok too. Like I think there's a community of even like older people who are on TikTok as well. And probably TikTok is like more, can be localized as well. So you see like different content from different regions of Kenya. So that helps as well.
Something you can validate is whether influencers do work. Actually, if they have impact, in this case is ROI on that. So let's say I am... which influencer do we know about?
You're an influencer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. If I can convince people to download the app and actually use BuuPass and measure the ROI of using an influencer vis-a-vis, let's say, radio, billboards, TV, etc. Because it might be cheaper to do influencers, but I'm never convinced that influencers really have that driving purchasing behavior. That people like them for the jokes, for the whatever they do, but when they're selling something, people are like, it becomes a bit shaky. But
I do like her approach. She's targeting macro and nano influencers, so they're not like how
generic.
They're not like the ones who just sell. They're selling something different every day. Influencers who have a following that's very genuine and likes them for being authentic. I think I could possibly consider.
So would you do like radio, TV, billboards?
I think
flyers.
We have done below the line activations have worked pretty well for us as well, especially in in town. We have done some about the line, mostly bus branding, because that's like direct market for us, both especially town buses. So that has increased awareness too. But again, tracking billboards, flyers is super hard. Plus, we are in a seasonal market. Like even if you like BuuPass, if you're not traveling, you're not gonna book. So
that must make a business very hard. Because assuming that even for school kids, they only travel every 3 months. So after you book 1 month, you have to wait for 3 months again for that repeat transaction.
So actually, that's why we are having a strategy session on this. And we're also working on creating a corporate-facing product. So there are companies who have staff who travel all over the country.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good idea, by the way.
Like, let's say insurance, salespeople, or even
operations people,
all of that. So we are building that where we can provide them with like monthly invoicing, and we can add buses. We also have flights inventory, train booking, and even if you want to plug into a parcel network, you can do that too. So that's something we are building to stabilize the demand as well, because again, B2C is like super seasonal, kind of erratic sometimes.
But I love that. I think that would be a killer, because if you have, like, if you think about like you're going for team building,
exactly.
You just go and book like 20 tickets,
because it's so hard. Imagine, I always say, trying to get team building organized with people, and like now which bus service, who has a number of a guy, it's just like if Bhupa does it, like
you can be a customer.
That's really good to know.
Well, how's the airline business coming along?
Yes, so we launched airline on the M-Pesa app first. So there was a crazy promotion back in 2021. You could go anywhere in Kenya for 1,000 shillings.
Oh, I didn't know that. Bring it back.
They only gave away 500 tickets, but that really helped us create awareness for the app. And interestingly, we saw a gap. Like there's no place where different airlines are aggregated and you can pay with M-Pesa. You can pay with cards, you can pay with, all the other modes of payment, but not M-Pesa. So
interesting,
that's the interesting gap we are filling as well. And even for airlines, we get quite a lot of corporate requests. Like people like to call and just ask, can you give me a good deal? So I think we want to like productize that.
I have an idea. Once you grow into other markets, there's something I saw where, let's say I want to travel from Nairobi to, I don't know, Mozambique, right? And then maybe I have to take a bus to Tanzania, then take a flight to Zambia, then take a train. So I just put my destination and origin, and then it pre-books everything in between. That would be very cool.
Handy.
But
how many people do that?
Very, very few.
But I think it'd be a cool PR strategy to do that, and even give you like the taxi to and from.
It's like,
it's pretty cool.
Like sometimes you travel, get the other side, and maybe your car doesn't work or something, then you need to beg for cash to take a taxi, but that would be great. So, do you fall under ride hailing?
Yeah, I was going to actually ask that.
We would call more ourselves like a online travel marketplace for now. Instead of, we are more of a marketplace on the B2C side than ride hailing. Also because it's not on demand, it's like pre-booked tickets. And then on the bus operator side, we are more of like a SaaS solution.
Who owns the customer between the bus companies and BuuPass?
So it depends on where the customer originates from. So let's say you've walked into the office of the bus operator and you've booked a ticket, but still through a BuuPass system, the data belongs to the bus operator. But if the customer has seen a BuuPass ad and comes to us, then we can market to the customer. So that's
interesting.
That's how we do it. And we have registered ourselves as a data controller and data processor.
Good job. Awesome. Just a question on how you handle like innovation and new technology, AI. Web3, NFT.
Have you been hit by the AI bug yet?
Okay, I love ChatGPT. So I even train like some of my people like, why do you have to work so hard if you can use ChatGPT for things? So that's probably the first level of AI usage. We also recently hired somebody who has worked on AI products. So we're going to spend some time every week just brainstorming on what we can do. We do have a lot of data.
Yeah.
So for example, dynamic pricing. There's no dynamic pricing in the bus industry. It's like very fixed. And it's kind of like feeling based. And but there's some bus operators who have asked us, like, how do these flight operators do it? Can you help us do it as well? So we want to build that out too. So I think that's where we might be using machine learning and AI to create dynamic pricing and maybe create like a travel online, like a travel agent where you can chat with and they can automatically book for you. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a legitimate use of.
Yeah, it is a legitimate use case.
Yeah, your ticket has been booked by an AI.
So nothing else. No blockchain, Web3.
So I mean, we are exploring Web3 too, and blockchain as well. So one of our investors is Adaverse, who's funded by Cardano, or associated with Cardano. And what we are looking at is like how we can use smart contracts in the especially in the parcel space.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's still very idea level as well. But again, one of our philosophy at Bhupas is we only use like a cool tech when there's a use case, not just because like
it's cool tech.
Cool tech.
Yeah.
I love that. You find a problem and you find appropriate technology
for solving it. Yeah.
Instead of going the other way, the other way around. How big do you think Bhupas can get?
I think so. Our vision is to become. First step is to become like a Pan-African platform, and our vision is seamless movement for people and goods. So if you're,
great vision.
If you are like going for your visa appointment from very like a small village to Nairobi, you should be able to easily book it without any hassle. And if you are a business person in Nairobi who wants to sell their products to somebody in Congo, Bhupas should be able to connect you to the distribution channels through our bus operators, through the parcel product too. So that's what we want to do. And I think the first step is to expand to more countries, increase market share. It can definitely become, I think, like it can definitely bring in change the same way Uber changed people's way of movement as well. So that's the kind of impact we want to make.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're rooting for you.
Thank you.
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you take time to create a vision for the company and drive that vision through the employees and managers and etc.? And how much is that your work?
Yeah, and that's a good question. And what's your day-to-day look like?
Day-to-day, yeah. So after hiring the CTO, my day-to-day has become like more outward-facing, strategy-focused as well. So less operations now, which I think also reflects where we are at scale in Bhupas. We have hired people who can run the business without being too dependent on the founder. So as a founder and as one of the leaders of the company, setting up a vision and then communicating that to different stakeholders, including your employees, is a huge part of it. So we do spend time doing that. We have like quarterly sessions. We set up our OKRs based on that as well. So, and every time we have a problem and we are not able to solve it, we look back at our mission and vision and we are like, are we getting closer to what we want to do? So yeah, we are one of those companies that's like pretty intentional about
that's good
about it. Yeah.
Is one of your missions to be profitable? Like, are you intentional about that?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's definitely, and there's different levels to it. I think right now what we are focusing on is maintaining positive unit economics.
Okay.
So even if we are burning cash, we still have good margins we make per transaction. So that's what we want to maintain first before, we are able to then reach that level of profitability too. And I mean, you could be like a small business that's profitable or a big one that's maybe that has cash injection and then reach eventual like massive profits too. So you have to decide which
unicorn
path you want to take.
Maybe
I don't know how I feel about the word unicorn because it has had controversies before. What is the alternative? Is it like the zebra or the rhino? Like the companies that are resilient and profitable but also big.
We have to describe it in an African way, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe
an elephant.
Like,
an
lion.
elephant, yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested to talk through like the challenges you face as a business, as a founder of startup. What keeps you up at night?
Right now, it's definitely growth, and then also, maintaining the company culture and attracting the right talent.
Yeah.
So those three things are where I'm focusing my energy on. And whenever we have like a rejection from a potential client, it hurts even more than an investor rejecting us, because
that is
are we not building something that you need? So I think that's another thing. How do we get more clients on board? How do we get more bus operators on board? As a founder, there's always this challenge of you need to be in the present and focus on whatever firefighting you're doing, because every day is a new adventure. You might have some issue or something you need to solve, and then also think about the long term. And are you getting closer to your long term, to your 1-year strategy, 5-year strategy? So switching between that is challenging as well.
Okay, I can imagine.
So how do you detox? How do you, when things go crazy?
How do you just relax?
I think I've been focusing on your personal, mental and physical health is first.
Pilates?
As a founder. Yeah, I just joined Pilates. Yes.
I need to
It was amazing. Yeah.
I need to find more disciples of the bottle.
And also finding the right communities.
Yeah.
So honestly, when people ask me what's the biggest challenge as a female founder, I'm like, I am privileged to be a female founder, because as women, we come together and we are more open about our challenges with each other. So I have this group of friends who are also female founders in Kenya too. And we meet up occasionally and we just go on a walk and we talk about whatever challenges we are facing, and we can we can solve it, and whether we are being too bossy or not. I think there's certain imposter syndrome questions we have as well. So that helps as well. That helped me a lot, especially during fundraising too. So finding that right community.
You felt like an imposter when fundraising?
Yeah.
I don't think he understands imposter syndrome, because
I get it if you're not, but
because there were people who were like, I raised $2 million in 3 weeks, and but it was 2021 and it took us 9 months. I'm like, what are we doing wrong? Yeah. But it was also going to different people for feedback. I'm also part of this community called Women Who Build Africa, who just told me you just need to be more confident. You have great numbers.
Yeah, you do.
So just having that access to people who are your supporters,
and being supportive
helps a lot. Yeah.
Awesome.
And also having a great co-founder.
I can imagine. Yeah. How do you pick your co-founder? What, do you have a formula?
I don't know. I mean, for us, we were in similar friends group.
Yeah.
In college. So I've known him for more than 10 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to a similar high school called United World College. Mm-hmm. He got a scholarship from Kenya to study in Singapore for 2 years, and I got a scholarship from India to study in Hong Kong. And then we met in the States. So we had I think something to talk about, and that's how we ended up.
You started as as friends, and
then co-founders. Yeah.
Nice.
Seems that's the path to get. If there was a speed dating for meeting a co-founder, would you partake in that?
Maybe if I'm working on another startup eventually, I don't know, but for now, to get another co-founder in Bhupas or
no. Let's say you're having another company.
Okay.
BuuPass X.
Taking guys to space.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely you have to. The first step is having self-awareness and what do you lack, and what do you lack is what you need in that co-founder as well, so that you can be a good team. So I would definitely do that as well. But you need to know what you're looking for. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
I just feel like it's been great learning about companies, BuuPass. I would love one day if my grandmother wants to take, but she goes to BuuPass, or is it more Nairobi centric, or Kenya-wide from the demand of the B2C side of it?
Yeah, definitely more Nairobi, but we have seen growth in like other bigger cities too, like Mombasa, Kisumu, and I've also met somebody who was like, my grandma used BuuPass in Oyugis. Yeah, so, also getting into the smaller towns too. But I would say 70% is still big city focused, and then the rest comes from like the smaller. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when it becomes countrywide, meaning that all the smaller towns, people use them, I think then now you have a killer product. I feel like for long distance, there's a lot of demand from those rural areas back to Nairobi and vice versa. For that, I was hoping like Western Kenya would be big. Yeah, they travel quite a lot.
Yeah, actually, it's one of our next big destinations.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Alrighty.
Cool. Any last thoughts? Anything you wanted to talk about that we haven't covered?
No, I think you guys asked me great questions. Yeah.
Nothing too awkward?
No, nothing. It felt like a conversation with friends. So yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Chris, anything?
No, I've known Bhupas for quite a while, so it's good to have a conversation again. And a lot of startups don't survive for that long. So within 3 years, they usually die. At 7 years, that would be great. So the next thing is when you hit profitability in next year. After 12 months, you'll come back to the show with
We are profitable.
We are profitable because I think there's comments about people celebrating fundraising, but they don't celebrate profitability.
Yeah.
So would like to add to that conversation of celebrating profitability as opposed to just raising funds.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. But again, thank you so much for coming on set and agreeing to come chat with us. And for the viewers watching this, let's support like local Kenyan tech. If you need to book a bus ticket, you know where to go to. So yeah.
SGR too.
And SGR and parcels. I didn't know that.
And flights.
And maybe space one day. So yeah, thanks for listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment, share, subscribe. Until next time, Kwaheri.
Booyaka!